This video is going to serve as another reason why you shouldn't care what other people think of you, especially out in public. And that's going to be because most people don't care about what you're doing, so why should you care about what they think about you in the first place? And the thing is, like, nobody even cares what you're doing to begin with. And I'm just going to tell you a quick story because earlier today I was filming a video and I was sitting on the sidewalk, sitting out in public, and each time somebody would walk by, I'd like stop the recording or just like stop talking so then they could just walk by in peace and quiet and they didn't have to hear me talking to a camera trying to spew some motivation into the internet. But I would stop and then I'd let them pass, but I would observe them as they passed me, and most of the time they didn't even really look at me. Granted, I was kind of like sitting down on the sidewalk while they were walking at like regular people eye level, so maybe they just didn't really care to look down at a random kid sitting on the ground with a camera pointing at his face. So that could be part of it. But also, every time that I stopped the recording and waited for the person to pass by, they had AirPods in and they were just like, or some headphones in, and they were listening to their own music. So they weren't really even concerned with what's going on in the outside world in the first place. So that kind of just like opened my eyes as to that most people just don't care what you're doing anyways. And even when you're just walking by people with the camera, sure, it does probably feel weird being the one holding the camera and walking around and talking to it, but the people that you're passing by on the sidewalk or what on the street or whatever, wherever you're walking, and if you're talking to your camera, most of them maybe they'll think that you're a little bit weird for a second, but especially if they're walking the opposite way, they're just gonna be like, oh, that guy was weird, and then they're just gonna keep on walking with their day. They're gonna be like, oh, this guy's talking to his camera, and he's talking about some, I don't even know what he's talking about, something about like discipline or some or motivation or something like that, or accountability. So that's kind of like most people really just genuinely don't care what you're doing. And I guess this is basically just repeating some of the things that I said in my video that I released a couple weeks ago, called something like how to stop caring what other people think. And this is kind of just a reminder because I experienced it again today where it was just like, oh, I could have just kept talking to the camera and not even stopped my sentence or stopped my train of thought for these people that are walking by because they weren't even trying to listen to me in the first place. They had their headphones in and they were listening to their own thing. So I think that's just a reminder for today is that most people, have you ever really stopped to think about how many people don't care about what you're doing? Because the majority of people, from my experience, from what I've seen, people are mostly walking around with headphones in, really just absorbed in whatever they're listening to, I guess, or absorbed into their own world that they could really care less about what you're doing and if you're talking to a camera or looking weird. And even the people that are normal, I guess, and just walking around without anything in their ears, because I've passed some people like that. And maybe if you've watched some of my videos where I go on like longer tangents and I'm out in public and walking around, it's usually early in the morning at like around like 6 in the morning. So the people that are out walking are, I don't know, health conscious or something. I don't know. People that are walking around, they're like older people that are just walking to get some exercise in around the park and stuff when I went over there because I can remember that. And I'll be like, hey, good morning, while I'm actively filming and talking to the camera. So I do try a little bit to embrace a little bit of that discomfort. But again, it's still a little bit weird for me talking to the camera and walking around in public, basically just because of the things that I'm talking about. If I was just doing like a vlog of whatever I was doing at the moment, then sure, it probably wouldn't be that awkward for me if I'm just walking by people and talking about my day or something like that. But I don't know, with the topics that I'm covering, sometimes it doesn't feel appropriate to just be talking and saying that stuff and passing by random people. I don't know. Anyways, that's the video for today. Thanks for watching, and stay on target. I'll see you next time.